This is an excellent question, and I am so glad that you've given me the opportunity to help you with this. Here's the question. A bag contains four batteries, all of which are the same size, equally likely to be selected. Each battery is a different brand. If you select three batteries at random, use the counting principle to determine how many points will be in the sample space if the batteries are selected. We're going to do this two different ways, once with replacement and once without replacement. Now the first step is really to understand, make sure that we read and understand this question, right? Polya's four problem solving steps tell us, number one, understand the problem. I've added Polya's four steps here so that you could follow along with them. So number one, understand the problem. So what does this mean? Why are they telling me that they're all the same size and equally likely? Well, you could imagine if the batteries were all different types, then I could reach into that bag and maybe have I could maybe have a power over which one I select, right? If there are three different sizes, I might think, oh, I really need a AAA battery, and I'm going to reach in and I'm going to try and get the smallest one, and so on. So they're clarifying that the pulling each battery out, each one that's in there is equally likely to be selected. There's no choice in the matter. It's like a blind selection. The participant who's pulling the battery out doesn't do anything to alter which one comes out. So it's purely chance at which one comes out. So each battery is a different brand, but you don't know that until you pull it out because they look and feel identical. Now, if you select three batteries at random, use the counting principle to determine how many points will be in the sample space. So I need to know a few things. I need to understand what the counting principle is, and I need to know what this means by points. Oh, sorry, I can't seem to highlight without moving that. What does this mean, points in the sample space? So the counting principle, I'm going to show you that in this next slide. I'll go ahead and turn to this next slide. The fundamental counting principle, it's up here in the top right. If first experiment has M distinct outcomes and the second experiment has N distinct outcomes, and the two experiments in that order have M times N distinct outcomes. So in other words, I'm going to find how many different ways can I make the first selection. So I reach into the bag. How many are there to choose from? Well, we're told that there's four batteries. So I know that on my first attempt, there's going to be four batteries. And then how many ways can I get that second battery? With replacement means I put the one I got back in, so it's going to be 8 again. But that's what the fundamental counting principle tells us. So as I seek to understand the problem, I need to make sure I understand what fundamental counting principle is. And then how many points are in the sample space? That just means how many different possible outcomes are there. Let's devise a plan. My plan is going to be to write out an empty line, and I'm going to label it the first selection, second selection, and third selection. And this is with replacement. Oh, I forgot to mention, as I'm understanding the question, I want to make sure I understand what this with and without replacement means. So I could look that up. But what with replacement means is after I make my first draw, I'm going to put that battery back in the box or in the bag so that it could be selected by the next participant. Without replacement means I'm keeping it. I pull out a battery and that one doesn't go back. Okay, so I understand the problem. I've come up with a plan of writing out 3 blanks for each of the 3 options, and I'm going to write out how many different ways, how many different outcomes do I have for each time I reach in and grab a battery. And then I'm going to apply this counting principle, which says to multiply that number for each time. So here's what it would look like. With replacement, I reach in and there are 8, I'm sorry, 4, right? I don't know where that 8 came from. We're told there are 4 batteries. So there's 4 different batteries I could select from. By the counting principle, I'm going to multiply that times how many different batteries are there in the second time. Well, because I put them back, it's with replacement, there's 4 the second time I draw. And now I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to put that battery back, and I can select from 4. There's 4 different outcomes. So how many outcomes are there total? The answer is 4 times 4 times 4. I'm going to leave that multiplication for you. You could put that in your calculator as 4 to the 3rd power if you know how to do that. If you have a scientific calculator, you could put 4 and then a to the b might be the key you have, or a to the x, you might have a key that looks like that. Or, and then after that you'd say 3, because we're saying 4 to the 3rd power. Or, I think nearly every scientific calculator has the caret key. So if you're less familiar with your calculator, look for this key. It's upside down caret. And then you do 4 caret 3, and that means 4 to the 3rd power. So that's just a free bonus tip on how to use your calculator. Let's go to the second part now, without replacement. If I'm doing the selection without replacement, then the first time I reach in to this bag, there are 4 batteries to choose from. Applying the fundamental counting principle, I'm going to multiply that by 3. Now, why I'm saying 3 is there were 4 batteries, but I took one and I didn't replace it. So now there's 3 batteries left in the bag. Now I have 2 of the batteries out, and so the 3rd time I take a turn, there's only 2 to choose from. So this time I'm going to do 4 times 3 times 2. And I hope you're going to do that without your calculator. You could just easily do 3 times 2 is 6. And then the result will be whatever 4 times 6 is. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you need any further assistance with this or other problems like it, please let me know. I'm always happy to help you however I can.